In the name of Allah, the most compassionate, the most merciful. There are several relationships which used to be healthy, but nowadays these relationships are not healthy anymore. We are not enjoying that relationship. Either it was just a minimum of it or a considerable amount of it, just an acquaintanceship or quite a friendship, or even in certain cases, one of the very close relationships. Now, there are certain troubles and problems inside this relationship. You are unable to enjoy that relationship now. What to do? These things come to our mind again and again. Every time we look upon a person, every time we, listen about that particular person, every time someone comes to our mind, you know, a thought about someone else comes to our mind, and we start feeling a bit of stressed, unhappy, sad, a bit of absent-minded as well. So we do think about these people so often, so often. Some of the people we were having the minimum of relationship. Some of the people we were having minimum of relationship. It does come to our mind for at least some of the time. Another some of the people with whom we were friends enough, obviously it does come to our mind a bit often. And again certain other people who were very close to us, and we were having, you know, very close relationship with those people, but now these relationships has gone wrong, and except giving us the pain and the trouble and the stress every time we look upon them. What to do about these people? What to do about these relationships? Because these relationships are actually creating a kind of stress into our mind. These relationships are giving us stress consistently. We are weakening our nerves and wasting our time, wasting our energy. What to do about these? If at all it was a mere acquaintanceship or even a friendship, now I think if at all we are not enjoying, every time they come to our mind, every time we look upon them, the right idea is, to throw it out of the mind and not to think upon it. Although it will come to our mind again for the second time, for the third time, for the fourth time. Every time we have to throw it out of the mind, like we are throwing something dirty out of the house, out of the room, you know. But at the same time, if at all your minimum of the relationship is going, let it go, let it go. Do not discontinue it. But if at all it has been discontinued, then okay, keep it discontinued at the same time. Now you should take a decision that you should take a clear cut decision that I'm not going to keep thinking about these people for all the time. I don't have to keep thinking about these people because it is not good for me. It's not good for my nerves. It is not good for my health. It is not good for my time, for my energy. And if at all somebody was very close to you, a family member, etc., so then the relationship is not very pleasant anymore. The right thing is to become silent. The right thing is to become silent. Mean stop communicating with that particular person if at all the communication has been stopped. But if at all they are waiting for your answer about something else, so it is better to wait and to answer, and the answer shouldn't be the emotional one, rather it should be the rational one. Not an emotional but a rational one. It should be thought out well, cool mindedly, keeping in view your own interest, but not hurting anyone else unnecessarily at all. So, dear friends, I think we shouldn't be allow all of these thoughts, the thoughts about these people, to keep riding our mind repeatedly again and again for quite some time, because it is not in our interest at all. Because it is not in our interest at all, dear friends. The right thing is not to let our mind be used for these thoughts, for all the time, and because it's bad for us. This is the time heal all wounds, the time heal all wounds, and the time is the best thing to decide. The time is the best judge. you know they will be able to understand our value and our worth on the one hand. They will be able to understand our value and our worth on the one hand, and on the other hand, we ourselves will be able to better make up our mind about each of those people with whom our relationship has gone wrong. Now, cool-mindedly giving it quite some time, and not to think about those people repeatedly for again and again and again and again. you know not to let your let not to let those thoughts to drive your mind for most of the time, for all of the time. So I think we need to free ourselves from those thoughts. We need to learn to manage those thoughts, although it takes a bit of time, a bit of effort at the same time. But I think it is quite doable. It is quite doable if at all we want to free ourselves, if at all we want to keep our mind free of the thoughts about those people, then this thing is doable. It is quite doable, really. So if at all it is doable, I think it should be done, and it should be done. What is going to happen as a result of this approach? Maybe the other person will be able to understand that this person is happy even without me as well. So I don't need to blackmail, and I don't need to pressurize, and don't need to play games at the same time. Do not let anybody play the games, and do not become a prey of their games at the same time. Do not become a prey of their games at the same time. So I think we need to learn to manage these sort of unhealthy relationship, the relationships which are not working properly anymore. I think we need to learn, and the best way to learn is to become quiet and not to think, but do not annoy them, do not offend them at the same time. Some of the people, some of the time, they do offend, they become emotional and they offend other person. I think offending other person, it's not a solution to any problem at all. Rather, it is going to make the things even more and more and more complicated. We don't have to make the things more and more complicated. Rather, we need to simplify them. Rather, we need to eradicate the pain factor out of it. Thank you.